You are listening to the intro of my new podcast, The Underlayer, where the real story lives. I've had an idea for a second podcast for several months now. I did 40 episodes of my previous podcast, which was called The Real You, from March of 24 through May of this year. 40 episodes. You can check that out, The Real You. My name is David Young. I was the host of that show, and I will be the host of this show as well. So that one focused more kind of holistic journeys, where people had come from, what they had gone through, and it was about shedding masks and trying to become the real or closest to the real version of yourself as we go through life. This one's going to be a little bit different. I'm planning on having experts in specific areas, things like personal brands, emotional regulation, relationships, selling and negotiating, mindset, how we learn, how we manage our energy, things of that nature. And it's really about getting well below the surface and diving deep into a specific topic with that expert and getting beyond kind of the way we normally think about things. I feel like in our current setup with all of our technology and the advances in AI, and we can get things delivered in an hour or next day. We can get food delivered quickly. We can download and stream almost anything instantly, which usually causes me to just flip around Prime, Netflix, and Apple for an hour and not choose anything. But that's a different story. So we have all of we've advanced to where we just have everything at our fingertips, right? We can GPT or Google or YouTube almost anything in seconds. Yet we still seem to be disconnected. We're still wondering what we're supposed to be doing with our time and our lives. How are we supposed to work? How are we supposed to get along better? So we have all of these things that are well below this, to me, the surface answers that you can get. Not that you can't go in depth with AI and whatnot, but we typically don't. I feel like we kind of accept the first thing that we get and we don't question it and we don't ask, does this really work? Does this really work for me? How should I take this information and apply it to my life? So the idea then is having, again, these experts on specific topics, and really trying to get deep and trying to understand, how can this apply? How can this help me? How can this help my family or my friends or my work situation or whatever it is that you're going through or possibly want to go through? And that's a whole nother area that we'll get into with a lot of the things that we want to do that we never really explore. We think about them, we talk about them with our friends. Maybe if you journal, you probably write about it. But yeah, we keep that to ourselves and we don't go for it. So that's going to be another area that we're going to explore. So it's called The Underlayer. It's where the real story lives is the tagline. And even beyond that, it's where does your real story, what is that, right? I've seen a lot of posts recently with people talking about, when you ask somebody how they're doing, and the kind of the general default answer is I'm fine, or I'm good, or I'm busy. But it never really answers the question, because I think we're afraid to share whether it's going poorly or it's going great, or anything in the middle. We don't really want to get into details. So those are our default answers. We're trying to get away on this podcast from the default and digging a little deeper and see if we can't find something to grab onto and to use and to start to implement. And that will be the takeaway. Hopefully there's one or two main ideas or takeaways from each episode that you can take and listen to and apply right away, even that same day. So it's called The Underlayer, where the real story lives. Hope you'll join me on upcoming episodes, which will be out next week, kind of the middle of November. Thanks.